Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Find Me a Book podcast. I'm your host, Tav, and this is a big week for book releases. There are two really big ones that I'm excited for, and it's happening. I'm recording this on Monday. They're coming out Tuesday. And so by the time that you're listening to this episode, they're already going to be out, and I'm already going to be freaking obsessed with them, most likely. I don't know which one to read first. That's the whole, it's not a problem. It's very first world problems. But I didn't realize that they both came out on the same day. I thought that I would have a couple days to really finish one and then start the other. But yeah, they're both being released on the 5th of September. And the books that I am talking about is Things We Left Behind, which is the third book in the Lucy Score series, the Knock 'Em Out series. That's what the town is called and the series is called. So that comes out tomorrow. And then the one by Elena Armas, The Long Game, that one has been I think she has a really good PR team. And I think she was a book talker for a long time, and then she decided to write books. And so she knows what we want. And so I'm really excited to see this third book because she's kind of gotten some under her belt. Yeah, she has a really big following, and I've been following her for a while. I'm just really excited because she really effectively hyped us up, and so I am hyped up as well. I'm guessing hers is going to be a little bit shorter than the Lucy Score one, just because the Lucy Score ones, they're kind of thick. And so I might read that one first, but there's definitely going to be episodes on them because I really like these authors and these books, and I have done the other books, so I mean, of course I'm going to do these ones. And then we have, so those two are coming out tomorrow. And then we have on the 7th is When I Wish I Would Have Told You by Whitney G. That's the one that I was talking about last week where it says don't read the blurb, don't read the summary, go in with an open mind, basically blindly. And so I saw something that it was coming out on August 31st. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it's already out. But no, it comes out on the 7th. So that one is this week as well. So that's the third book. And then we have Yours Cruelly by Winter Renshaw. That's book 2. The first book was Hate Mail that I just barely read a couple weeks ago. And Yours Cruelly comes out on the 7th too. So I'm oh my gosh, there's 4 books that I'm going to be reading all this week. That's all I'm going to do. And I'm really excited about it because these are great series, great books, great authors. It's just all around a great week. So I wanted to put those on your radar because they're just very important books, you know? Oh, I just barely finished Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. That one was super good, super cute, super good. I have never heard of her before, and I just saw that book just on Kindle, on the homepage, books that you might be interested in. It was a really cute cover, and I was like, oh, I love hockey romances. And so I picked it up. So freaking cute. It's kind of they went to the same high school, and they knew about each other and they had crushes on each other, but they were he was really popular, obsessed with hockey, and she was kind of in the theater group, singing and choir and all that. So they never talked. And then she had a boyfriend from when she was 16 up until this book starts. And so they break up, and she goes and she's the assistant to this hockey player, and they both think that the other person doesn't remember who they are. And so it goes along their story of them finding out hey, no, I do actually remember you. And then he actually falls first. Which I love that little detail that the authors do in these books when the guy falls first, because I feel you always read or you always see on TV shows or movies that the girl always falls first, and then it's the guy that he's okay, I admit I can't live without you. But when it's the guy that falls first, I'm swoon, that's everything I want. And so, yeah, it's a very, very cute book. I love the storyline. I love because they kind of do like a revenge fake relationship with her, like to show her ex. And then they just like can't live without each other. It's just so good. So good. And it's pretty spicy too. And so it was just like the perfect, cute little book that I do recommend to like everyone. I wouldn't recommend it to my mom. I just don't think that she would like it, but I would definitely recommend it to my best friend, Kate, Caitlin, Kate, Kat. I call her all the things, Caitlin. She loves hockey the same as me, and I really want her to get into romance books and to start reading. And yeah, so I definitely will recommend that to her. I think she would love it. And I think my sister would really like it. I don't think that she would put it on her list, but I would want her to. It's just very, very good book. And I would definitely recommend it to my sister-in-law. She would love it as well. So that one, just barely finished. Super, super good. Let's see what mom and them are reading. Okay, so my mom is currently reading Wyoming Wild from Sarah M. Eden. And I don't know what it's about. I didn't look it up. And I don't know why she chose that book. I don't know if it's been on like her TBR list. I don't know. I should have asked more questions. I was just like, hey, what are you guys reading? But it's obviously based in Wyoming. And I don't know if you've seen the show Longmire on Netflix. We are rewatching that series. I think this is like the third time that we've rewatched that series. It is so good. Like, he is a Wyoming sheriff, and you just go through, like, you just follow along with like his department, and I just love him. Like, he reminds me of my grandpa. And so I just like can't stop watching that show. I just love it. And it's like murder mysteries. It's based off books. And yeah, so if you love that type of show and type of like just aesthetic, I guess you could say, definitely watch that show. So I'll have to ask my mom how this book is, because y'all, I just love that show. So I'm like, if it's like this book, I'm just kidding. I don't know what this book is about. So I'll have to ask her. And then my sister-in-law, so my sister didn't get back to me. I'm guessing that she's just been really, really busy. Like I said last week, she's got 4 kids. They're going to school, sports, everything. So I completely understand. So I will ask her later what she is reading. But my sister-in-law, she is reading Your Pregnancy and Childbirth because they are pregnant. I'm so freaking happy for them. They just FaceTimed me last week and showed me like the little sonogram. And is that the right word? Sonogram? I don't know if that's right. I think that's the wrong word. Anyways, I don't know. They just showed me like when she went to get it all scanned. I don't know what it's called or what happens because I don't have kids, but I'm so excited for them. So yeah, my sister has 4 kids, and then this will be their first. So I'm a middle child. So I have an older sister, me, and then my younger brother. So it's him and his wife that are going to have their first baby. She is due in April, and I just know it's a girl. I'm like pretty positive it's a girl. I don't know why. They're only like a couple weeks along, but I just know that it's probably a girl. And yeah, I'm just so excited for them. So freaking excited. So she is reading Your Pregnancy and Childbirth, which I freaking loved that. And yeah, so I don't know what my sister's reading. And I am not reading anything right now because I'm waiting for tomorrow. For the 5th. So today's kind of my off day. It is Labor Day as well. So I hope that you had plans that you had fun with. I hope you just had a really great long weekend. And I hope that you have read some books this weekend, gotten some sun, because it's fall, y'all. I mean, I live in fall every day of my life, but now it's like pretty much official fall, right? Like, when's the first day of fall? I don't know, but it's like we're in the burr months, you could say. I saw this thing that it's like, oh, if you live in the burr months, so-and-so. So I'm like, okay, we're in September. My birthday's in October, November, December. Ugh, We are in the best part of the year, y'all. This is where I am the happiest. Like, I'm happy throughout the rest of the year, but it's just fall, like the end of August till the end of December. This is just where I thrive. So I am just so excited that's finally here. We have, the other day, because I live in Arizona, it was only 85. And there was like some rain showers, and I was like, what is this? This is the most magical day in the world. And now it's gone back up to the hundreds, but it's going to be like low 100s the next couple weeks. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this the start? I mean, there's not a fall here at all, but I'm like, lower temperatures, that's all I can ask at this point, because it's been rough with over 100 every single day, like almost over 110 every single day. That's where it's super rough, and it just really makes you not want to go anywhere. So yeah, hoping for the cooler weather. We'll see, because of Arizona. So today's book, and I'm not going to do the spoiler alert yet, because I just want to explain kind of what this book is about. The one that we're talking about today is called Shucked, and it's the Loew brothers, book 1. So it sounds like, well, in this family, there's 3 brothers. So I'm guessing she's going to do all 3 brothers' books, which I love this family. So I'm like, yes. This one was just barely released. It's by Kate Canterbary, and it is in the same town as her book In a Jam. So the town of Friendship, Rhode Island, I believe it's in. Rhode Island? Yeah, Friendship, Rhode Island. And we kind of get a little like guest appearances by the characters that were in a Jam, but they're not like related or anything. They're just like business owners in the same town. So you don't have to read In a Jam to read this book, which is really nice. But it just adds a little bit of spice, a little bit of something if you were to read both of them. And this is like I guess you could technically call it like enemies to lovers, but it's also like brother's best friend. And it's also like a small town romance. And I love this town. I love the characters. I love any book that has a small town and has like the quirky characters. I love those types of books. And yeah, it is in the same town as In a Jam. So we learn about Sunny. Sunny is the main female character. This is a dual point of view. And I didn't say, but I would recommend this to my sister. I think that she would really like this book. And I think my mom would like it too. I just don't think that she would pick it up. My sister-in-law would definitely like this book. So that's how it is for the mother-sister standard. Sorry, I didn't go over that till now. So yes, back to Sunny. She is, she's in her 20s. She is just kind of traveling all over the U.S., even like across the country, or across the world. Like, she is just kind of like a little travel bug, because she grew up so, like, I guess sheltered could be the right term, but she has epilepsy and some other like health issues, and so her parents were like very, very protective of her, and so they didn't really let her do anything growing up, because they were so nervous they'd have to take her to the hospital, and they were just very, very, very overprotective. And so once she kind of got outside of the house, got on the right medication, she knows kind of like her trigger signs and everything, she is able to go and travel and kind of live her life. And so she actually was a manager at a bar, and I don't know where the bar was. I'm guessing it's near Rhode Island, but she actually was kind of like a waitress. She managed it, but she also helped with like waitressing. So she was helping these like real estate people in this poker game, and they're like, hey, come and play with us. So in this poker game, she actually won an abandoned bait shop from like these real estate people. And then a couple weeks later, the owner of the bar was like, hey, I'm going to sell, like, and I'm going to give you half. So that's what he did. He sold the bar. He gave her half, so she has this funding. And then it also happened to be that all her friends had these big changes happen over the next couple months too, so that they were out of jobs. And so she's like, okay, everyone, like, this is the perfect opportunity to do what we want to do. And so they all move to Friendship, Rhode Island, and they open a vegan cafe that does like book clubs and sunrise yoga, full moon ceremonies. Like they just go all in. And then there's Beckett, who is the male point of view, like the male guy. He is the male main character. And he moved to Friendship when he was 16. He became best friends with Sunny's brother. They basically tormented her growing up. And now he's back in Rhode Island because like he is this big business person, and the company that he works for, he goes all around the world for. So he's currently in Singapore, but he had to come back to help his family business, which is like the oyster business. It's basically like the oyster empire, they call him, or the heir to the oyster empire, and which is right next door. Like this restaurant is right next door to Sunny's like bait shop, or her vegan cafe, not bait shop anymore. And so yeah, he is working in Singapore. He has to come back to take care of his family, which we'll go into a little bit of why and the family dynamic and everything like that. So from this point, you kind of know what's happening with this story. And so from this point, if you want to read this book, definitely, I definitely recommend it. You can also click off this episode and make sure you press that you like listen to it or played it, whatever, so I get the downloads. That would be perfect. But yeah, if you are wanting to read this book and you aren't wanting to continue to hear more about the story, then I hope you have the best day. But if you want to know about this book, you want to know more about it, you want to know kind of like what the characters go through, definitely keep listening, because that's what we're going to go through now. So we have Beckett. And he learns that his dad and 2 servers and the lobster supplier are all in federal custody because of money laundering. And so his mom also was in Tulum with like some girlfriends, and she just seems like the type of person, like she loses everything, and she like just kind of seems really like frantic all the time. But she's in Central America. She lost her passport. She missed the flight. So it looks like she's on the run from the feds. And so he has to go back to the restaurant, like in Rhode Island, and basically pick up the pieces and try to, like, he hired a really good lawyer to try and figure out why, like, this all happened, and to basically clear his dad's name. Because he knows for sure that his dad didn't do this. Like, his dad is very much I just hope everyone has a good time kind of person. Like, just very much like up in the air, just really like a very personable guy that like genuinely cares about everyone. And he, I guess, always says like, oh, that guy's a character. He's a character. And so when Beckett went to visit him in jail, his dad was like, oh my gosh, like I have to go back with my prison mate. Like, he was just telling me what he did. Like, that guy's a character. Like, and basically he's supporting like all these prisoners, and just like, it's like he's having the time of his life. Like, he's that kind of like positive person that he's like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, whatever, you figure it out. I'm doing good. And so Beckett's like, oh my gosh. So Beckett is also the type of person that he wants to take care of everyone. And so he just is going out of his mind, and he didn't know who Sunny was. Like, he didn't recognize her. And so when he gets back and gets everything back going again, he sees these people like outside of the vegan cafe, and they're like potting flowers, and they're just like getting everything ready. And so he gets mad, and he's like, you guys need to move those pots. Like, how am I supposed to get delivery drivers? And then that's like the first blow up that him and Sunny have, until like he realizes that it's her. And then he just kind of becomes like really, really, really protective over her, where she like always yells at him, and she's like, stop, like, just leave me alone, basically. Like, I know how to figure things out. You're not like helping me, basically. Like, stop trying to be super protective. I don't even know you, really. And he is instantly like smitten by her. And he, in this book, like, he falls first, which I love. And so you get like both point of views of them being like so irritated with each other, but they're just so like sexually frustrated. So we go to Sunny, and yes, we talked about how she has epilepsy and she would fall a lot when she was young. And so she is so excited to be opening this cafe with all her friends. And she also has been very verbal about how like Beckett has they like tormented her, and so she's just always like very snappy at him and is like, you haven't changed, you're being overprotective, like leave me alone, like let me do this cafe, like just get out of my way basically. And of course he's like right there, he's like, no, I want to be a part of your life. So we have Sunny, and then her three best friends that are there. So there's Muffy, which she met her in New York, and then there's Mira, who she met her in Boston, which I guess Mira has two husbands, which I think is an interesting dynamic. And I hope that Kate Canterbary she does books on these people, because I want to know more about their life too. Like each character is so interesting, and like you can tell that there's these big dynamic pieces about them that I'm like, oh, I want to know more about their backstory. So yeah, there's Muffy, Mira, and then there's Bethany, which they met at a community college. They were in like some classes together. So she's a local. And yeah, I just love their whole friendships, and I love that they're all friends and they became friends. And I really like, one thing that I really like about Kate Canterbary, she's very inclusive in her books. Like so Bethany is a lesbian. And so there's like a lesbian relationship in this book, like kind of not really like a side story, but there's like a little bit of that romance. And then there's Mira, who has two husbands. And then we don't really know very much about Muffy at this point. But I just loved all of it. Like I loved their stories. I love like their personalities coming through. I loved how like you kind of learn how they met. And I love how they like treat Sunny, and they just are so supportive. Like that whole group is so supportive. And I love that. We go back and forth between Beck and Sunny and kind of see like their different perspectives. And so throughout this book, there's an underlining theme that someone's trying to sabotage Sunny and her cafe. And they're just like little things, like the lock on the garbage being broken, and like a couple things that go on through the story that's not like anything big, that you kind of think like maybe it's a teenager just kind of like roughing them up, or you know what I'm saying. But then at the end there is that twist that we find out that yes, someone was trying to sabotage her cafe, and why they were upset and who did it and everything like that. So there's a little bit of mystery in there. And then it introduces kind of the second book that's going to come out. So Beck's the middle boy, he is a pro baseball player. And so this whole time Beck has been trying to get a hold of him, and he hasn't been like answering his phone or anything like that until the very end, where he's introduced. And then we see like it introduces his relationship. Like he's currently married, but they've been separated for a long time. And so we kind of introduce like she comes back. And so, yeah, we know that that's going to be the second book, which is him and his wife like reconciling. And then there's the youngest brother, who's 17 currently. He is a freaking riot. Like Kate really put it in, like she made him so goofy and so funny. And like, you know that he gets like his heart broken a couple times in this, and you just like really feel for him. Just the 17-year-old, like he wants to be in love, like he wants to have friends, he wants like all these things that you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, I hope everything goes well for him. So I'm excited about his book. I mean, it won't be for a while. Obviously, he's like 17. But yeah, I just really loved him as like a little side character. And then his parents, like the boys' parents, they're funny. And you also feel bad for him, because it's like, how did they get in this situation? Who's really behind all of that? And so that's another little underlying like mystery, is like, okay, well, how did they get, like, how did this laundering happen? Who really did launder the money? Like who is is responsible. Like, so you kind of wonder that throughout the whole thing. So yeah, that's another underlying thing that's going to happen throughout the books, which is kind of exciting. And then I just like the natural setbacks that this couple has, like Sunny and Beck, that they just kind of like gravitate towards each other and they take care of each other. And of course, like the town dynamics and the little characters there, it just like was such a good book. Like, I really loved In a Jam, so I knew I immediately like needed to pick this one up when it was available, because yeah, it just barely came out. But yeah, I just really like the author. I really like her writing. I really like the personalities that she gives the characters. I really like all of it, just how it all comes together, that it's like not so over detailed, but it's not like so simple. Like, it's right in the middle, that you're like, okay, I will read anything that this author comes out with at this point. Like, I just have loved it. So yeah, that is the little kind of story synopsis about Shucked, which is book 1 from Kate Canterbary. And so yeah, this is going to be a pretty busy week. I'm so excited for these next episodes that are coming out. So stay tuned for them, because yeah, I really, really hope that these books are so good. Like, I hope that I'm not overhyping them. Like, yeah, you just always hope that. Like with Fourth Wing, we've talked about how everyone was hyping it up and I was so nervous to read it, but it still, like, it lived up to the hype. So I'm hoping that these books live up to their hype. You always hope that for a book, you know? So yeah, that was really exciting. And I love that book. It was just a quick little read, and it's not left on a cliffhanger that you're like, oh my gosh, I need the second one. Like, it's just kind of like individual stories, which was so fun. So yeah, definitely follow me on all the social medias, on Instagram, on Threads, on YouTube, because I post the video on YouTube. Like this whole video of the podcast, I post on YouTube. So if you want to watch, if you don't want to watch, just listen to this on like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So wherever you listen to your podcasts, I'm here. If you want to share my little episodes, that would be amazing. I want to just build as much of a community as we can. And I want to know what you guys are reading too. Like, definitely interact with my posts. Definitely like send me messages. I just want to hear from you guys. I want to know what's been going on. I want to know what you're reading and what I should read next and what you recommend, and just all of it. Just follow along. I think that would be great. Also, if you are on listening to like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or literally, I guess, wherever you listen to your podcast, if you could rate and review my episodes and the whole podcast in general, that really helps me out. And yeah, just know that I appreciate you for tuning in. And I'm just really excited about this week. So stay tuned. But yeah, grateful for you guys. And I will talk to you next week.